Hello, my dear friends. Hope you're doing well. Mike Shreve here. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. We're going to be talking about the easiest way to become number one in your niche. Now, this is something I've been doing for my clients since the very beginning of my journey as a service provider to clients. So every single client I've ever had has wanted the benefits of being number one. And what are some of the benefits? Really elastic pricing. In other words, there's very little price resistance on sales calls when you're trying to sell stuff. Inexhaustible audiences, which means you can have fewer offers and you can relaunch those offers time and time again, and you don't see degrading KPIs. A very strong organic sales and marketing system, whether that's through an ease of recruiting referral partners or affiliates, or an ease of getting content distributed through shares or features or whatever, the authority that comes with it, which is just another way of saying, very little price resistance on sales calls, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of the benefits that people want, whether they have connected it or not, are typically benefits reserved and held for people who are at the top of their niche. In other words, well-known, big audience, et cetera. Now, for those who are on that process trying to get to that point, it can seem very overwhelming because everyone tells you that, this is the tactic, this is the tactic, this is the tactic, this is the tactic. And it's true that all those tactics probably do contribute and they probably do work. But what we're missing, and what a lot of people miss, especially when I take clients on for the first time, what they're missing is the principle. What is the purpose of all of these tactics? What are we actually trying to do if we're trying to become number one so that it's easy to sell and we can sell all the time and everything's evergreen, everything's, bright, shiny, and wonderful? Well, the principle of becoming number one, it's not about how good your marketing is. It's not about how good your product is. It's not about how good your team is. It's not about any of those things. And you may say, well, such and such guru said it is about the products. And what I'm suggesting is that you take a look at some of the number one products in your niche or industry and actually value test them. For example, Teslas are notoriously poorly built, and yet they're the number one electric car in at least in the United States. There's a guy who claims he's the number one tracking software in the et cetera, has all sorts of problems. So the best product isn't what makes you number one. The best team isn't what makes you number one. I have worked with some clients who have some of the best teams in the world, and they are obscure. Nobody knows who they are. They aren't receiving the results that they're looking for. And marketing isn't even, when compared to all of the things that makes a business function, it's only one small part of all of the pieces that lead to some kind of result that we might call being number one in your niche. So what is the principle? What is the actual thing that leads to being number one? And it is your ability, you and your company's ability to get the most exposure. Whoever can get the most exposure becomes number one. Now, I've talked about this in other places on the podcast where we talk about filial imprinting and the exposure effect and all that sort of stuff. So if you don't believe that and that's what leads to number one, check out some of those other podcasts. But it really comes down to, if you want to be number one, you have to have more exposure than everybody else. And that's it. It's that simple. So the question is, what is the best way to get exposure? And the simple answer, if we're looking for speed, if we're looking for simplicity, if we're looking for general ease, is to buy it. And the cheapest way to buy exposure is through paying for paid ads. It doesn't matter if it's YouTube or Facebook or whatever. On average, $40 gets you in front of 1,000 people. Spend $500 a day. You're getting in front of 12,500 people per day every single day. You do that for a year. You've gotten yourself, your brand, your offers in front of 4.5 million people. Now, you don't have to be good at marketing if you can get yourself in front of 4.5 million people with relative ease. See, there's a point in which exposure also corrects a lot of the marketing and sales issues that a lot of people have. Exposure is partially a way to ensure no matter what marketing, no matter what sales process you use, it will still work, because you've gotten in front of so many people that even if your conversion rates are really, really low, even if you're very inefficient in how you handle your sales process, that the odds are in your favor. And this is what, for me, is so important and critical in every business I've ever started, in businesses I work with clients. It's making the math make it easy for you to be successful. A lot of companies rely on these, razor thin margins of skill and ability. Like they have to keep hitting home run after home run after home run just to stay in business. What I'm suggesting is use the blunt force tool of exposure, get yourself in front of so many people that, yeah, it's great when you hit a home run, but also when you don't hit a home run, it still works. That's where you need to be. Now, typically, to give you some scope here, because it's important, because I want you to really feel the effect of what does exposure actually mean, and then we'll talk about a very quick and easy way to basically get ads to pay for themselves, because that's the smartest thing to do. I like to spend around $3,000 to $4,000 a day. That to me is okay. We're really, this is kind of our baseline. If we're in whatever methodology we're using, if we're spending $3,000 to $4,000 a day, that means you're getting in front of about 100,000 people a day. Now, some of those people are the same people, but again, check out the other podcasts where we talk about affiliate imprinting, familiarity exposure, and the familiarity bias, and all that kind of stuff. After a year, though, that's 36 million impressions or 36 million people that you've gotten in front of. Okay, that is how you become, quote unquote, number one. That's how you build authority. That's how you make it you have to be kind of a complete nincompoop to mess that up. When you're getting that kind of exposure, you can be bad at sales. You don't even have to get on the phone anymore. You can do sales over chat. You get to control the demand and supply curve when those are the numbers you're talking about. If you're only getting in front of 10 people a week, you don't get to control the supply and demand curve. Okay, so the best way to get in front of 36 million people a year is to use paid ads. And the best way to use paid ads is to have those ads pay for themselves. This is why I'm constantly hammering you need to build an acquisition funnel. You need to build an acquisition funnel. It's because I want you to be able to tap into paid ads without, quote unquote, having to pay paid ads. If you don't know what an acquisition funnel is, it's very, very simple. It's either a low ticket course or a book funnel. I prefer the book funnel, but either is fine. And you put it out into the world. For every dollar you spend, you make $1 back, usually within 24 hours, so you don't have to cash flow the darn thing. So oftentimes, if you do it right, you can even make a little bit of profit, maybe like on a book funnel or a low ticket funnel, that you can even use the profit from that asset that you've built to even hire an ads team to run the traffic for you, so you don't even have to deal with it. And it's going out in the world, and what is it doing? It's getting in front of 100,000 people a day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Then what happens after that, because you got customers, you're building an email list, what you do to those people who come through that acquisition funnel, it doesn't actually matter how good you are, right? Now, I'm not saying purposely be bad. I'm just saying it relieves a tremendous amount of pressure of having to always hit a home run, because you have people constantly coming in every single day. And whether you're great at nurture content, whether you have a good back-end presentation, whether all the things that are currently stressing you out in your business, all of a sudden, they don't have to work perfectly in order for you to get results, right? So if you could do that, right? If you could build an acquisition funnel, and even if all you did was spend $500 a day and you got in front of 4.5 million people a year, why wouldn't you want to get your message, your offer, your brand, and you in front of 4.5 million people a year? And that's it. It really is that simple. And like I said, I've been doing this for 15 years. I've had all sorts of clients who've had all sorts of different ideas. They've had all sorts of different strategies and all sorts of different niches. And I am biased because my team helps people to create acquisition funnels. But the reason that my team helps people to create acquisition funnels is because I have not found a better way to help people regardless of where they're at in their business now. So you can be early stage entrepreneur. Like you just got your first couple of clients. You are just figuring out what your premium offer is, what the core of your business is. You can plug in an acquisition funnel today and get the same results as somebody who has been in the business for 10 or 15 years. It is an equalizer. It is a competitive advantage, whatever you want to call it. The reason that my team and I focus on acquisition funnels for people is because I've just not found anything better for those in the help industry to move the business forward. In that regard, to release a lot of the stress, tap into paid traffic, and etc. Okay. So if you want us to help you to create an acquisition funnel, peacefulprofits.com/call, have a quick chat with my team. We love acquisition funnels. We have multiple funnels in our business that do this exact same thing. We've helped many, many people to do it as well. And that's it. That's today's lesson. If you want the benefits of being number one, it has to do with exposure. The best way to get exposure is to pay for ads. The best way to pay for ads is to get ads to pay for themselves. The best way to do that is to create an acquisition funnel. Whether we get to help you do it or you do it with someone else, my recommendation is that you look very seriously at getting that done as quickly as possible, especially in 2022 with all the things that are going on. The more you can offset costs and get in front of more people, the easier it's going to be regardless of what happens in the future. So that's it, my friends. Hope you enjoyed this one. We'll talk to you later.